An exhibit the mystery of which scientists of the whole world cannot unravel. An agronomist who embodied a tale in real life, a master who was ahead of his time for many decades. The Museum of Micro-Miniatures of Mykola, Siadrystyi. It has only 19 exhibits. 18 of them can be put in a matchbox. His fame spread far beyond the borders of Ukraine all over the world. His visitors are both ordinary Ukrainians and presidents of the most exotic countries of the world. Here you can see something that does not lend itself to human understanding, nor to the capabilities of the most state-of-the-art high-tech equipment. A chessboard. What is so amazing about it is that it is placed on the head of a pin. It's a pin that is specially attached to dress shirts that men typically wear. There are 18 chopped chess pieces on the board. The diameter of the base is only 14 microns. No machine is capable of making such figures. If we melt gold, it becomes a platelet. And here this is done and figures simply stand upright, just like nails. They do not stand just like that, but in a certain sequence. Mykola thoroughly enjoyed playing a game of chess. It was specifically designed for 2 players. Whose game was immortalized by a talented master? How did he manage to create such a masterpiece? What tools did he use for this? And what is the secret to his craft that has preserved for already half a century? The future-honored master of folk art of Ukraine, people's artist of Ukraine, was born in 1937 in the Kharkiv Oblast. No one ever thought that an ordinary country boy would become a world-famous man of the arts at the age of 30. Although Mykola Siadrystyi first chose a creative profession and entered the Kharkiv Art College, after graduating he continued his education at the Dokuchai Kharkiv Agricultural Institute. At first glance, his choice was illogical. After all, in the art school, Mykola was praised and set an example for other students. And then he enters the Agricultural Institute, which has absolutely nothing to do with the creative arts.
Siadrystyi.
Despite his rather peculiar choice, he passed the entrance exams with flying colors. Tell me, my dear fellow, what do you know about ammonium salts? Ammonium salts are salts that contain ammonium, NH4+. By structure, color, and other properties, they are similar to the corresponding sodium salts. When they are exposed to alkaline, gaseous ammonia is released. All ammonium salts decompose when they are heated. Not bad, really not bad. Yevhen Semyonovich, you will not be able to knock down my grades. After fall, I learned your textbook by heart. Well, it's commendable. Excellent. My congratulations on your admission to the Institute. Thank you. It was here that he first became acquainted with the microcosm. Here, the first micro-miniature was born. One day, Mykola did some laboratory work. He looked at various plants under a microscope, and right next to his table he noticed that a dog was lying there on the floor. And he said that the dog was lying there and started scratching itself. He thought, let me find this flea and I will have a look at it. Let's see, what is biting you there? And he remembered the tale that Leskov wrote about the master lefty who shooed away a flea. Now, he does not even like to be asked about it. He says that this is not his level, it's too primitive. It's nothing more than an insect, 2 horseshoes, and 3 nails. His other works are highly spiritual and philosophical. All of them have a profound philosophical meaning. The most primitive one is the flea. I did it when I could not do anything else. Well, there are only 2 legs, 2 horseshoes, and 3 nails in each horseshoe. So there are 8 details. It's far too simple. It's as if one were to compare a bicycle with an airplane. It's preposterous. The matter is that the bike is no more than 5 millimeters long, and that the shod in the horseshoe is just 5 microns deep and 60 microns wide. This is the exact same thickness as that of a human hair. It was also very difficult to do. He had to dry it, put it in alcohol, and make miniature platinum horseshoes and golden nails to create this masterpiece. This is not an easy job, but he managed to do it in a matter of 72 days. The flea was exhibited at the Kharkiv Oblast Exhibition of Masters of Folk Art of Ukraine. And now Ukraine has got its own so-called lefty. The difference is he is not fictional but real, although nowadays many people mistake him for the magician of Leskov. And nowadays they come to the exhibition and say, "So, lefty horseshoed the flea?" I say, no, this is the work of our Mykola Siadrystyi, who took the flea from a dog that was lying next to his table while he was doing laboratory work and decided to create this miniature piece of artwork. In 1960, Siadrystyi went to Transcarpathia to work as an agronomist. He lived there for 7 years. He did not neglect micro-miniatures. He only honed his knowledge and skills. This persistence was not by accident. In the 60s, I did very secret work, very thin. I even divided the spermatozoa into 2 parts without destroying its protoplasm and nucleus. And 2 animals were obtained. They were absolutely identical. That is, it was such secret research. And that was when I realized that the human race in the 20th century would be soon introduced to a microcosm. According to Mykola Siadrystyi, in the middle of the 20th century, everything new had already been discovered, and all possible global discoveries had already been made. All plants and trees are given Latin names. Everything is already known. The maple is called Acer platanoides, and the plantain grass is called plantago. Everything is given Latin names so that people know what it is about. And in the 20th century, in the 1950s, introduction into the microcosm began, and that was when I began to study microminiatures. Perhaps even then, the country agronomist with exceptional abilities had realized how art will develop, and to a certain degree he managed in some incredible way to foresee the future. I realized that in the future, a new kind of art will be called micro-miniatures, which will be consonant with the movement in which mankind moves with its technology, studying microtechnology and micro-miniatures. However, the term microtechnics at the time did not yet exist, nor did the tools for performing such meticulous works. But this did not stop the young master from creating his masterpieces. The glory of the unique master began to spread all over the world. It almost cost Mykola his life. At the Expo 67 in Canada, their delegation was poisoned. Some people even died. Siadrystyi ended up in a hospital for a long time, after which he was disabled. It was with this disease that he first began swimming lessons and then diving. From 1967 to 1974, he worked as an engineer at the Institute of Super Hard Materials of the Academy of Sciences of Ukraine. During this time, 8 personal exhibitions of the master were held, including 5 abroad. And in 1973, one of the most difficult works of Mykola Siadrystyi appeared, the chess set. The creation of this micro-miniature was promoted by the chess match between the Russian chess master Alexander Alyoshin and Cuban chess master Jose Raul Capablanca. Every work is done so accurately, each piece by hand. This is very hard work. But he does all the work at night when people sleep, when there was a complete silence and no trams, cars, or buses moving along the street. He did this work from 2 until 4 in the morning because at 4 in the morning people were already awake, having breakfast, and were getting ready to go to work. The noise begins in the apartment building as the elevators go up and down, and this really hindered him from fully concentrating on his meticulous artwork. Mykola Siadrystyi has been making miniatures that admires a wait with bated breath in between heartbeats. He did this in such a way that he did not even feel a pulse in his hand so that it would not tremble. Today, the chess set of Mykola Siadrystyi is the smallest in the world. 14,000th of a millimeter is the thickness of the base of each piece. Such parameters surprised even the most experienced specialists in the field of microcarving and threading. Jewelers from all over the world come here and are amazed by this microtechnology. They say, "We make diamonds, we make carats, and these are microns." If someone saw this chess set and put it on a cloth and shake it, microns would fall through it. It's a grain of sand that is totally invisible to the naked eye. A microscope that helps Mykola see these grains of sand is specially made upon his custom order. These optics increase from 40 times to 400 times. For each work, it was necessary to make a separate tool. In order to create those works that are in the main hall, special microscopes were ordered in Germany. A microscope is just one of the instruments that allow the human eye to simply look at the material. But you need the equipment which the master processes metals with. So this begs the question, what kind of an instrument is needed to sculpt a 14-micron-sized figure? He also does not show anybody the instrument he uses to create his micro-miniatures. The fact is, the instruments he creates are the secret of his craft. Each work requires a separate tool, and these are not modern machines that can sharpen, carve, or add any features. The most difficult thing that takes most time is the micro-instruments, and this is what is called pure and simple know-how. However, the tools are not the only know-how of the master. Almost every micro-miniature that he has masterfully created is enveloped by a halo of mystery, and the more difficult the work is, the more mystery there is behind it. Watch in our next program. To hell with your Lenin. That's why building the ship was like an ascent to Mount Everest. I must think through every moment and create this work without having any doubts inside. We do not know how the ship was built. Of course, everything is not done right away. First, he does the blueprints, physics, mathematics, and geometry, and then everything is calculated in microns. And then, based on these blueprints, he is able to create these majestic miniature works of art. And he was invited from the plane in Moscow. Not even invited, but they grabbed him right off the plane to the KGB office. He did not know what the conversation would be about and for what reason he was brought there. Stalin called Beria and said, "Well, does he plead guilty?" And Beria says, "No, he is obviously not afraid of death."